We are back with the League of the Genuine Conversations. This is the only show on the planet where we have a big discussion every week, every Friday, on the subject of counterfeits and substandard products. As you all know, there is a big menace, a big challenge that we all face in our homes, in our businesses, with this subject. So to join me to continue the conversation is a professional colleague by the names as Ashmahaney. Your name is not quite. Can you tell us your name?
Ashmahaney Saad.
Ashmahaney Saad.
Yes.
That name sounds like it is from some part, okay, at least not Ukraine, but somewhere not very far from there in Asia or something. Is this an African name?
Not African. It has Arabic origin, like most of the other.
Saad, the Saad part is.
Yeah, the Saad is. They both have Arabic origin. Ashmahaney means forgiver. It's just one of those names.
Forgiver.
Yeah, the forgiver.
So you've already forgiven all your enemies before you came to the show.
Outstandingly, I really easily forgive. So you know what they say, that your names can really
determine who you are.
Yeah, as a person. So.
But I think you've come to the wrong show, because on this show we don't forgive counterfeiters.
No, that I also don't forgive.
That is the only exception.
Yeah.
So who is Ashmahaney, for those who don't know you?
My name is Ashmahaney Saad, once again. I am an advocate. I'm the managing partner of KTA Advocates. I am also a governance expert and an oil and gas professional.
So you are a practicing lawyer in simple terms?
I'm a practicing lawyer in terms of law, but I also have other things that I practice other than the law.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about your practicing of law. It's quite obvious that not many women in Uganda, maybe in Africa, like to practice law or can manage to practice law. Why is that the case? And for you, how did you manage to become a partner, a managing partner at that, in a premium law firm in the country?
I think there are two folds to this question. I think it's about the practice of law, the way we define it, meaning that you have to be in a law firm and do this. But there's also the other practice of law where you're a qualified legal profession and you don't necessarily enterprise the law business. So maybe you are an in-house counsel but still practicing law, or maybe you are in an NGO or government entity. So for me, I've found that narrative has been very narrowed, that people define the practice of law.
Most people think practicing law is going to court.
It's going to court. It's a profession who has enterprised their professionalism and made it a business. So you have a law firm as a business, and you're using your profession, you're enterprising your profession, if I can say. So I think generally many women are practicing law, if you look at it in those
in
forms.
The different aspects.
Yes. Yeah, and I think by choice, many choose, or some choose not to come to enterprise the business because of the business aspect. As a business, it's your profession, but you want to sell it to people. To choose to come to KTA or choose me as against someone else, another lawyer, for example, you. So that is, I think, where the line is drawn.
The distinction is.
Yeah, the distinction.
But still back to the issue of women in the law business. By the time I was at university, government introduced the 1.5 points on top for the women. And one would have thought that would have attracted a lot of women, or enabled a lot of women to join the land profession, if you like. But if you see the situation now in the country, we have slightly over 5,000 lawyers. I don't even think the female lawyers account for 20% or 15% of that. Even when you look at leadership, for the last 20 years, we've had only 4 presidents being female of the Ugandan Law Society. The first one being now Justice Solomon Bosa in the ICC and the others. Why is it that women are not getting the prominence they had, despite the advantage which some people think was fake, the 1.5? What is it? Are you lacking in, are you not genuine in this area? What's wrong?
Well, first of all, as a beneficiary of that 1.5.
So on top of you, there is 1.5.
Yeah, but
now.
Yes, on top of me, there is that 1.5, and I'm very proud of it. Not that I couldn't make it. I scored very highly in my A-levels personally, so for me it was just an added advantage. But I think from my point of view, that decision for government to say that we need an added or an enhancement, in terms of those points, to see that more female students are interested in joining law. I think it came from there was a lot of background information to that. And for me, I think it not adding so much value to how many students eventually qualified or wanted to do law. I think the fakeness for me would be in, you take all the time and resource to research and come up with such a good product, but then you do not sell it. And this is how, I think if government had also taken initiative at that time to sell law to schools, so many female schools, Navisonsa, Gayaza, and go with this product, that there is this profession that we think we need more female students to have interest in and study it because of ABCD, I think the statistics would be different. So for me, that is the fact.
But that's
Yeah, but in terms of actually taking it up, I think for me it was just the awareness. Personally, when I made the decision to fill that form and put law as my first choice of study, it was out of just my love for law. At that time,
you argue a lot. You like arguing
yes,
so much at home.
The arguments, the equality, the fairness, I would see children on the street, I would see, and so it was always that I think if I did law, I would have a voice, or I would be able to help people. That was my choice. But my parents were happy because back in our days, when you're a lawyer or doctor or engineer, then you have made it in life. Your child has...
I think even these days.
No, these days I think it's becoming more open. I mean, you have children now in school studying things like IT, software engineering, being a chef, musicians, So I think the dynamics are a bit different, but that's why I think maybe they're called like old professions. They are really very...
The traditional.
Traditional, yeah.
But Asma, one of the points you're touching, which is a key concern for us as lawyers who have been there for quite some time, is that the standards, the quality of service, with the influx of, if you like, anybody and everybody into the profession, we are not able to command good standards. So the question is, do you think this 1.5, which by the way is unconstitutional because we are all equal before and under the law, we should not be discriminated because of gender. Do you think this 1.5 and this liberalization, if you like, of the law profession has contributed to counterfeits in the profession?
Yes, I think so. And again, for me, I'm one person who likes whatever product or service that you want to put out, maybe if it's government, opening up space for more development, schools to come up or universities. I always think that what the missing ingredient is the thought process end to end. And that is where the gap always comes in. So for example, we have now so many law schools.
About 5?
I think 5. LDC has opened up space.
Branches.
Branches, Barara, Gulu, I think. So you see it's more of demand driven, right? There are this number of people, they're churning out thousands and thousands of students out. But we are forgetting there is something here, the refining, the building, the understanding what product are you pushing out. So law schools do not tackle issue of standards. how does a lawyer behave? How do you serve your client? How do you do this? And again, I'll speak into the different aspects of where people choose eventually to practice their profession. Then you go to LDC, it's all about cramming and, having the law in your head, but they're forgetting at the end of the day, you're going to go and enterprise and sell this service. But how are you selling it? So for me, the gap is there. So when you churn out these people, you tick you check your list. Granted, people wanted many law schools, but you're forgetting what product are you churning out. For example, like in medical school, students are taken through that internship a whole year where they go through certain standards of their service. How does a doctor behave? They actually go and have this training in actual training. Medical students, the interns, they became so popular when they went on strike. And you saw, they're literally interacting with the consumers of their service, who are the patients. But with us, you find that even when students are sent out for internship, it's for a brief period of time. They don't have that time to be refined. They don't have...
But they started these days from university. They come and do some...
internship. I think it's for a month or 3 weeks.
Yes, for a month. Then again, LDC.
Then
because at that time it was only LDC.
Yeah. But I think that is not enough. Again, you're still at the tail end. So when this person comes in, they come into a law firm, depending again on the environment of the law firm. I mean, our law firms, we have all kinds of law firms, from your beautiful law firm here.
Thank you.
There will be another law firm in, I don't know, William Street or whatever it is. So they get to experience all these kinds of service levels, right? So at the end of the day, what are we saying as professionals, as lawyers? What should our service look like? It's not defined. I mean, when I was in LDC...
But we have a code of conduct, professional conduct, and so on. Is it a problem of implementation, enforcement of the code?
Again, the professional conduct is coming at the tail end. You're an advocate, so now you have your advocate's professional conduct rules. For me, my view is it's at the tail end. Can we deal with the head end, if I can call that, the beginning?
Which is the service
the
to
foundation.
The people. But again, Ashma, we have this big drive for money.
Yes.
Legal practice has ceased to be a service to the client. It looks like it's a business to make money.
Yeah.
That whole dynamic is affecting the quality of service, and maybe is also allowing the infiltration of fakes. And counterfeiting, because then the noble values and virtues of the profession are thrown away for as long as there is a dollar bill or there is money in the equation. So to what extent is money leading to the erosion of the standards in the profession?
Yeah, I think to a larger extent, honestly. And again, it still comes to the same thing. It's a business. So if someone joins or starts their small farm, or they're an advocate, so they have all these things. That's real. You have to pay your bills. You have to do this. You're looking for, how am I going to sell a service? The competition is there. How do I beat Muwema's law firm and I also attract the right kind of clients to give me the money that I want? So it's out of that eventually anyone would get desperate, And because our profession, there's a certain way we do things, If you're going to advise a client on a transaction, you'll take some time doing the due diligence. You won't just go and sign an agreement and say, But you find people cut corners, like in any industry. Will cut corners because they want quick money, or sometimes your clients even will pressure you, I want results now, but there is a certain process that we have to do for me to ensure that you get the good quality standard than a fake. So that, I think, again, the value for money,
it's causing a problem.
It's causing a problem.
But we operate in a price-sensitive environment. Ugandans, maybe Africans, are very price-sensitive. I do some work with lawyers in other well-to-do African countries, even just Kenya here.
Kenya, for example,
South Africa. And you do a transaction, and the Kenyan lawyer, the Nigerian lawyer will have a fixed fee is not negotiable. When it comes to the Ugandan side, people want to negotiate you out of business, basically. So don't you think the consumers of legal services also are contributing to this faking culture by trying to undercut and bargain, and even some consumers actually want to take fees, a share on the fees. It's a common practice as well. There are a lot of brokers in this business. To what extent is that also contributing to the downward trend?
Oh, to a larger extent. And I think these days everyone thinks they're a lawyer, they can go to Google, pick up an agreement. You know, clients come to you and they're like, I already have my agreement, I just want you to sign. And you're like, I cannot do that. So you see, so I think that again, the consumers themselves are creating this fake, they're promoting the fake environment. I remember, I think 2 years or so, the whole issue with the land registry, when you know,
a lot of fakes there.
A lot of fakes, and people are not advocates, but they were actually signing and witnessing these agreements. But you come to a law firm where people are credible and will give you the bill for the service, because we know there is the value for service. And then you'll go to the registry, you'll find some fake guys, he has a fake stamp, and he'll tell you maybe 50,000. And so again, I think maybe there is need also there to
there's need to sensitize the consumers.
Yes.
And even the lawyers themselves.
Yes.
Some lawyers just accept the stamp.
And I think there was a debate in the law council, law society at maybe IAL, so I don't know why it dropped, to standardize our billings as well. Yes, we have the advocates. It is
standardized in the law, yes.
But you know, where you have room for negotiation, or, you know, take the service under contract or things like that. And so you find that, and that's where the undercutting comes from. If I'm doing a DD of maybe $1 million or so, I'll have a certain percentage I'll ask for. Someone else will ask for 1 million shillings. But remember,
and it's a criminal offense, by the way. We need to take a break. It's a criminal offense for us lawyers to undercut and undercharge for the services. We need to take a break. We're back with the second segment of our conversations of the League of the Genuine. We are having a conversation here with an advocate, a managing partner of KTA Advocates. We are discussing fakes, counterfeits in the legal profession. Ashmahaney, you are talking about the conduct of clients, the conduct of lawyers, but let's now flash the torch into we lawyers. In the past few months, we have had simmering tensions, conflict, issues between the bench, the judges, and the bar, the lawyers. I think we even have one incident where one advocate, Malema Birizi, was unfortunately put in for contempt of court, had to pay, I don't know, a fine. We have other issues going. For me, who has practiced for close to 30 years, these things are unheard of.
They're fake.
I don't know whether it is a millennial thing or what has happened. Why do we have these discipline issues, conduct issues, maybe on both sides? Why is it happening? And isn't it reducing the confidence in the justice sector? Can we still be able to provide a genuine service, a genuine legal service, when we ourselves cannot control ourselves? We know the law, we can't control ourselves. We don't have decent ways of not washing our dirty linen in public. I don't know. What's your take on this?
So generally, I think it's very unfortunate that this is happening. I think the law profession is it's one of those professions that it's a noble profession, and it's noble because it has such strong foundation of respect. The way we conduct ourselves, the way we talk to each other, it's very, not only just as ourselves as, you know, collegial, but when you look at the bench, you know, just as aspect a judge walks in, you know, he signifies something, wisdom, he's you know, we all stand up, we respect. So
we are calm and collected.
We are calm and connected. You know, it doesn't matter what the judge says to you, but you always have to hold yourself back because this is a judge. They stand for justice. You're in a house which is the temple of justice. So there's so much significance to it that I've been following this, and every time I watch it, I cringe because I can't believe we are seeing that time as legal professions that we are encountering this. But again, you raised the issue about millennials. I think we are also in an environment where people are, or the certain age group, they are pushing for challenging status quo. It's cool to be disruptive. It's cool for you to stand out for whatever you believe in, no matter what, because you have the right to do that. And so it is celebrated. It's very sensational. It will get the audience, you know. And for me, that is where we are now moving in this ping pong, where you have a profession that, I mean, law did not just start yesterday. Century of profession. I mean, even here in Africa, you know, we just landed. You know, we had our own way, but this, you know,
the first modern African lawyer was a Ghanaian in 1890, I think 1892 or so. But the profession here, we started with in Samisa Institute. We used to train in Dar es Salaam. Our law school is 1970s, 70 something. Exactly. So it's fairly new, but I agree with you, the profession,
the history, I mean, when you look at
it has been there.
It's an assimilation of the law system in Britain, you know. So it's like
but
a royal.
Ashmahaney, do you think there has been a decline in judicial conduct as well? We are talking about the decline in conduct of the advocates. Is there also a decline in judicial conduct? Because in our times, we didn't have any of these. I don't think things would get out of hand. Maybe the controls, the law council, the law society is not strong enough to intermediate.
I think it's a cause
to allow a spillover.
Yes, a cause and effect thing. I think the judiciary is also under a lot of pressure because of the sensationalism that's coming out of it. I mean, you just look on at social media. Red Pepper would pick it up, and everything is just blown out of, out of context. And so, like any institution or even any human being, I mean, the attack is on us,
and it's
judges.
Personal.
It's personal as any
because
human
the judge
being
makes a judgment, and the whole of it will go viral. This attack, and and the judge has no way of defending.
He has no way of defending.
They can't
himself.
talk back.
He's a judge. But then you're also dealing with a human being. Behind that robe is a human being. So of course, yes, so many things come into play. But at the end of the day, my point is, when we start taking these positions, attack the judiciary, challenge the status quo, do we know where we are coming from? Do we know the profession that we are that we are servicing? Because this is what is happening. This is the message that's being sent out, We are challenging the status quo.
Some legal scholars will tell you, for example, I was there when the Supreme Court made that landmark decision on declaring sedition to be unconstitutional, the Onyango case. And I think there's a quote there from former Chief Justice Odoki, who was saying that freedom of expression is actually needed most when views that you don't like or dissenting views are being given. That is actually the essence of freedom of expression. So do you think we are overstretching as lawyers this freedom of expression?
Again,
are we within our...
Again, I mean, you've seen some of the language, Yes, you can express yourself. But again, for me, I'm still thinking about where are we coming from? The law didn't start yesterday, that you can come and address with all the words that are coming out of your mouth. We disagree in a very cordial way, yes? So again, the thin line here is, like you said, we are seeing this heat coming up. You have the bench, you have the lawyers, and it's like no one is speaking for the bench. Maybe it's by choice. I really don't understand what is behind there. You said we have regulatory bodies, Uganda Law Council. We have the Law Society. These are our members, What are we doing about it? I've seen some letters come through, and there's a lot of back and forth. But who stands up and says
we need affirmative action for this as well? And don't you think, Ashmahaney, that what we are seeing on the bench and bar in the judicial system is reflective of the general situation in the country? I mean, we're seeing fights in parliament.
Yes.
We've seen exchanges between the police and civilians, and we've seen some politicians also speaking in not the most palatable way. So don't you think it's not just a legal fraternity problem, but it's a countrywide problem?
Madness of an entire nation.
We are just getting mad.
That famous Wole Soyinka quote. When the madness of an entire nation disturbs a solitary mind, it's not enough to say that the man is mad. So maybe, and that's the sensationalism I'm talking about, maybe there's just this madness that, even when Amale Mabirizi reacts like that, he's grabbed into the whole sensationalism. But I think I've attended there is the Bar Bench Forum, Ideally, it's a platform where the bar and the bench interact. And ideally,
the bar, not the bar, your drink. The bar is where the Law Society for the lawyers and the bench is the judges. Yes.
And it is a good platform. Ideally, that's why this platform came up. That if you have issues, it's not that the judges are locked out, you can never see them, no. But again, it was to allow for such things to come out. I've attended, I think maybe 3 years before COVID, I attended one, and you could see there was interaction, people are raising
cordial.
Issues. Cordial.
Even if you disagree,
yes.
you don't have to be disagreeable.
Yes, people are raising issues of corruption and things like that, and the judges were listening and saying we'll address, and some of those things were gradually being addressed. So again, given the umbrella, the nature of profession that we're in, I believe there are forums that this can be dealt with, other than, like you said, put all our dirty laundry out there. And it's a very respected, we have one, almost, now I'm saying almost everyone who is taking up a big position is in this country, they will have a legal background. So again, it's one of those things, but my personal view is that it can be handled better.
You think if we have more women in leadership position in the justice, law and order sector, it may help to put some mother care in all this, and we don't overreact? I mean, we have a Chief Justice who is male, a Deputy Chief Justice who is male, the Principal Judge is male, the Attorney General is male, the Solicitor General is male, I don't know, name it. You think an infusion, of a woman in this would have helped to temper the situation?
Yes,
or we're a basket case?
No, we're not a basket case. I think there is still room for women to take up these positions, and not because they're women and then they will infuse, but I think women as leaders, we have a 360 overview of what you'd want a good leader to be. So you have the empathy, you have the stewardship, you have the management, you have the motivation. So as female leaders, you find that, I mean, these are statistics that they've been proven. You find that our ability to handle such situations are higher. I mean, men, you're egoistic.
But they're also crazy women.
Crazy, yes. I mean, to all this,
in leadership.
Yes, I mean, it's all about, I think, character. Some things adding personalities, There are so many things that will define a leader other than just what they're supposed to do. But I think, generally speaking, and of course there will always be exceptions, and I think that circle, that hierarchy there, we need to see women a chief justice, a female chief justice, a female deputy chief justice, a female attorney general, you know. And I think the dynamics, I mean, I like that the president is thinking that way. I don't know why the judiciary is not.
You have a woman VP now.
We have a woman VP, we have a female prime minister, you know, we're seeing all these women holding sectors, you know, energy and, you know, all these, they're women. And yeah, so I think we're already proven that the female aspect.
Gender can help to balance things out.
Yes.
So now that, still again with the profession, now that we agree that these simmering conflicts in the justice sector are a form of faking, if you like. They make it fake, okay?
They make it fake.
Now let's see the interpersonal relationship between male and female lawyers. Do you see actually conflict between male lawyers and their female counterparts? Do you see that kind of situation where because you are a female lawyer, you are maybe looked at in a certain way, you cannot deal with the male lawyers because of, is that conflict there?
I think that conflict is deeper than just the profession. It's something that is in our culture. It's something that is nurtured in us, in our male counterparts. So ideally, by the time they become a profession and they have this perception or this belief, it's you know, it's just.
So there are some prejudices. Sometimes you're looked at because you are a female and you're a lawyer.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny it. I mean, I'm at my law firm, KTA. We have 5 partners. I'm the only female partner. But, you know, again, like I said, it comes from a lot of things. When I'm dealing with my partners, they don't look at me as a female, but they look at me as a partner. So I can...
I thought when you fight for equality, you become a male in the partnership. You remain...
Equality how?
No, because of the movement for equality, I don't know, it's to what? Equality to same opportunities, to same... Because some people think, and maybe you should help clarify this before we take a break. Some people think female lawyers are difficult. They're even fake, maybe. Correct or not?
Very wrong.
Very wrong.
Perception.
So can you pitch for them, the female lawyers? Because some people just, they'll look at you and fear you and say, no.
What would
that
you
one
fear?
Is a lawyer. It's not possible.
What would you fear? I think
she will out-reason me or this. I don't know. What do they fear?
Any other lawyer would out-reason you.
What do they fear about female lawyers?
I really don't know. Honestly, I can't speak that. I interact with so many people. I find some actually come to me because I'm a female lawyer. So I think for me, again, it's perception. They'll just be prejudice. Sorry.
It must be a societal...
Yes. And someone is like, let me go to this one because it's a male. Or I have a case in court. Maybe the male lawyer will argue it better.
Will be more intimidating.
But we have female lawyers who have mastered the court, you know, practice so well, you know. So again, for me, it's just the mindset. It's just the mindset. So I wouldn't say there's anything a female lawyer does that would really.
Do you, as a female lawyer, feel or actually earn as much as the male lawyer for the same kind of work, or is there some form of discrimination like we see in sports? The female athletes for the same sport don't earn as much as the male athletes. I hear because, okay, it's a fact. When the males are competing, the stadiums are filling, so there's more money.
Yeah.
Do we have this situation of you earning less or more because you're a woman lawyer?
Again, I would speak from, I don't really have very good statistics to speak generally, but I think from my own experience, for me, what I've found, my billing, people come to me because of my knowledge, because of my experience, because of my networks, and any added value I can add to them. So that will determine the value of work. So if I issued a bill and it's this much or this much, there is room for negotiation. When my other male partners did the same, I always find it would be the same. So I haven't really experienced that.
So we don't need another...
I think the only thing that I've experienced, because some clients come to me to negotiate because I am the female, maybe. So maybe, you know, they try to get that aspect of it. And of course, I don't want to say because I'm a female, I would want to listen to them, but I want to hear from them. And we find that middle ground of
the middle balance.
Yeah.
So we don't need, hopefully we don't need another government intervention. 1.5 on top of the earnings of a female lawyer. We all go into the market. No, we don't need that because you're able.
About money.
You're able. We need to take a break and go for our third segment. We are back with the third segment of this League of the Genuine conversation. Another big discussion again on the subject of counterfeits. We happen to tweak it a bit for the law sector. We are here with Ashmahaney. She's a managing partner of KTA Advocates. Ashma, as a practicing lawyer, I know that you have a penchant for the oil and gas sector, construction and so on. But let's stick to the oil and gas sector. We've just had the final investment decision signed. Up to maybe $13 billion will be coming into the sector. My question is, isn't this all a mere puff? Isn't this all fake to the extent that the Ugandan lawyer is actually not benefiting as they should from the business around the oil and gas sector? That the Ugandan entrepreneur, business person, small business holder is not benefiting as much despite the legal provisions of local content. Is this whole thing fake by reason of those violations of the law, in your view?
So the local content question is really, like you said, it's really amorphous, but I think we have reached a stage where there is a bit of clarity on definition of what is local content. Who is...
First of all, what is local content for our viewers?
So specifically to the oil and gas sector, because I think it's the sector that has gone ahead to really define it. Other sectors are not really very keen on that. Local content is the actual benefit that goes to Ugandans. So that is the local. So it could be a Ugandan enterprise, a Ugandan
the business
individual.
that is going to be done by Ugandans is the local content.
It's the local content. It could be community, until the last person who is affected by the project.
Supply of cabbage, supply of transport services, anything.
So it's the value of that is the local content, the benefit.
But the law says that should be ring fenced. It should be for Ugandans. But you're seeing a lot of foreign companies, even in our profession. Ashmahaney, I'm sure you have seen some contracts drawn up by some foreign law firm, and it's already done. The ministry has hired that law firm and paid millions of dollars, and you're here. Affirmative action, and the money is going elsewhere. So isn't this thing just a smoke screen? We're not going to...
I think when we talk about local content, we also need to look at where the sector has come from. In 2000, in the early 90s, or maybe up to 96, up to 2002, when the actual commercial discoveries were done, when we actually found oil that we can sell. Before they were just literally for the benefit of everyone out there. We were just digging around.
That was exploration, and that's what you do on exploration. Yes.
But also, at that time, the sector was not very popular, and not so many people had keen interest in the sector. Now, what that created a gap, because the oil and gas in itself, the actual project, is very technical, very standardized.
Highly specialized.
Highly specialized, highly standardized, very technical. And that's why you see for the companies that are coming here to invest, and very risky, by the way. So it's one of those sectors that has very high risk, and that's why the returns
very
are
high
also
returns.
Very high. So the gap came in at that time because we lacked the actual manpower. I mean, that time they were even negotiating the PSAs and all these things. Other than people in the Ministry of Energy themselves who were conflicted and couldn't participate to that extent, we didn't have lawyers at that time. I was like in law school, and I knew of very few lawyers who were literally taking on the practice of oil. To them, it was just this fallacy. Is there
some
oil?
mirage.
Some mirage. So up until I think 2006, when Talo hit the actual commercial discovery, and then the real work now started. People started seeing movement, trucks, so the interest started picking up. But remember, there were already timelines that were running, signing of agreements and things like that. So I think that is the whole story. So when we came to 2012, when you look at the timelines, 2012, when the other companies came in and bought interest, again, we didn't have that diversity of professionals, not just even the legal profession, but engineers, mechanics, welders, we didn't have. So there was that, the first services, which we refer to as tier 1 services, we all did not benefit much. And yes, it's true. Most of these agreements, even for the international companies, they were really, the advisors were coming from abroad. But now, and that's when the local content law started developing, because other countries that have gone before us experienced the same. And for them, it was never controlled. Ideally, they controlled it later on when a lot of money had left the country. So that's when the intervention stepped in and we had these laws coming.
Yeah, but for the local person.
Yes, so now for the local...
Who wants to supply some fast-moving consumer good, things like food.
Yes.
Okay, and other things used for an office operation. With the liberalization of the economy, the influx of foreigners who can compete with you to supply even stationery, you think we're not getting a raw deal? Because we can't compete with them. They have access to cheap capital. To how is the local going to benefit?
So I think that's where the local content law comes in, and you have these ring-fenced services. And I think there are about 16 or so, I forget the number, of all services that have been listed, including hospitality, survey, there are services that have been ring-fenced. And there is a regulator, which is the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. So it is the duty of Petroleum Authority to ensure that all these services, yes, compliance, that is their duty. Now, and actually that's what the law says, that even when out of the ring-fenced services, when there is need for a service that is not ring-fenced, the first priority would still be given to Ugandan suppliers. So what does that mean? Technical capacity, financial capacity. But again, what I would like to tell our viewers is that even with some people, we concentrate on the tier 1 or the class 1 of these services, but there are different layers. There is class 2, there are contractors of the oil and gas companies, there are subcontractors, there are subcontractors. So it's a long chain. And when you look at I was reading a report from Petroleum Authority, you would find that even in Hoima, there are people who are supplying even to the lowest chain. Some of these things are not really talked about, but people are supplying eggs, chicken, agriculture is benefiting, tourism is benefiting, because in our mindset, we think that if I'm not supplying Sinok or Total, I'm not benefiting. But the actual money goes out
trickle
to the contractors.
Ashmahaney, how do you just say the oil and gas sector is highly standardized, highly specialized? And then I just heard you mentioning eggs, that they are going to supply eggs. But we have a lot of fake eggs. You've seen reports, even Kenya was refusing our eggs. So don't you think because of the high prevalence of counterfeits, even in the human food supply chain, don't you think that is going to make us lose out? So we might actually have eggs coming from other countries.
100%, because the egg or the chicken or whatever it is that is consumed by anyone in the sector, the standards are defined. So
but
we
our
have the
standards
local
are fake.
Exactly. So that's why your point is very valid, that what our regulators doing. And that's why, a forum like this is very important, because it's not about just one sector that is being affected, but you're looking around a whole chain, So if you have eggs and the standards are not defined, because the first standard they'll always refer to, and that is the law, is the local standard. That is the UN
UNBS.
UNBS. And then they also have international standards, because we have international companies. So they have this ISO certification,
which must strictly be complied
Yes.
with. So
maybe
the
size,
Ugandans
the one-
out there who are used to supplying fake food and all this,
they would be cut
like they
out.
did during the COVID relief,
Uh-huh.
they'll be thrown out.
They would
But
be
then
thrown out.
unfortunately that gives us a bad reputation and we might be blacklisted. And
Yeah,
even if they hire Ashmahaney as a lawyer or Fred, you may not be able to.
Yeah, because
to
you're taking in
secure.
this thing of these people are fake. But what I wouldn't say like generally, because they are standards. So, and that's what I think maybe is a bit different. They are standards. So before you supply, the quality standards would be checked. So despite of that, I don't think that would affect the general service, because you would still supply your eggs if you met those
If you
standards. So
meet-
there would be
if
the
you meet the
quality checks
standards.
to be done.
We are celebrating International Women's Day this week. And the theme in Uganda is recognizing the contribution of women in mitigating the effects of climate change. So let me just stop there. The theme internationally is, gender equality and
Gender
so on.
equality.
I'll come back to that in a...
Break the bias.
Yes, break the bias in a second.
Yeah.
Climate change and counterfeits. Do you see counterfeits contributing to the climate change problem?
Oh yes, 100%. 100%, because the resultant effect of the counterfeits that we have, most definitely, for example, environmental effects of counterfeits, yeah, they will most definitely have a contribution to the whole
They'll
climate
release
change,
gases
the global
up there,
warming and the warming,
like the fake fuel you might have on the
fake
market.
fuel, plastic, all these things that are fake, as women, you go to a salon, you do a retouch or whatever it is, you're using these high, chemicals. My hair is natural, so you use these chemicals.
It has
and
natural
then,
chemicals.
Yeah, the ones, the chemicals I was born with. So again, the washing, the water is released and all these chemicals, so
The
yes,
disposal of
counterfeits.
electronic waste and...
Electronic waste. I mean, in Uganda we have so much waste. A
lot of it coming from fakes.
Dumping coming from
goes
fakes
into
and
the water
yes,
sources. And
Kavera, the plastic bags, because
But-
they are cheap and they are fake. Because I think the environment, the micro, whatever they're defined, I forget, the actual numbers. But then we have all these fake Kaveras, plastic bags in the market, and they are causing such a hazard. So yes, I believe.
But the
I believe
irony
it's
is
100%.
that whereas the theme is recognizing the contribution of women in fighting climate change, women play a leading role in influencing household consumption,
Yes.
because you're the ones who buy for the households, for the children, and yet the report suggests that a lot of the stuff that you buy on the Ugandan market, for example, is fake. So in a way, women are promoting the consumption of counterfeits. How ironical it is that you are then at the forefront of stopping climate change.
Yeah.
Why do you women look out, especially Ugandan women, you like to bargain and bargain until the cows come back home?
Value
So,
for money.
so you're bargaining and you love counterfeits, women?
So I think I would say yes and no. Not that we love counterfeits, but we want the good stuff. And of course, that's where the issue of price affordability comes in. You see, someone wants, I would say maybe like a designer bag or whatever it is, a Gucci. Or whatever, and you can't afford it. It's in thousands.
But
of
you want to
dollars.
look like Ashmahaney, you want to...
Yeah, so what do? I go downtown and I find my brand written on Gucci. Sometimes even the trademark, the logo is turned the other way around, but it's similar, and I'll carry it and it's cheap. So of course that is really one of the issues. It's the affordability. It's also, the convenience, women, like you said, yes, we do have the upper hand in deciding what is consumed at home, but I mean, if I wanted something genuine, maybe I'll have to go to Game or, you know, this
But then you pay a premium.
Where, yes, I pay a premium, and because I know that UNBS has done its checks, whatever it is, I would trust to go there. But is everyone able to?
There is no guarantee. So what do you think? What do you think? Because here we have Dankani, as you can see there, the drivers for counterfeiting.
Yes.
Which one of those, or any two of those, do you think is the principal attraction to women when they are buying consumer goods? What really influences them most?
It's convenience, of course, affordability, and then aspiration, concealed danger.
You women are in competition too much.
Yeah, of course.
If your friend nailed that look in that dress, you also
go for
want
the
to.
fake. And then put your pictures on social media. No one is going to check the brand on social media, and people are like, wow, she bought it as well.
And you guys, you have these likes. Your mood will be affected by the number of likes. So if you put on a fake or genuine dress and you have 1,000 likes.
And it's accepted. That's the normalcy, I think. It's accepted. Here, people wear fakes and it's accepted. And so it's the biggest driver. You see a product, someone is, you know, they can't afford it. I mean, my nanny at home, I see her once in a while having those designer fake stuff, and I'm like, of course there's no way you can, you know. I pay well, but I don't pay well enough. So yeah.
Unless maybe your jacket gets old and you donate it to her when she's going for Christmas.
Yes, so those are really the driving factors. And also our economy, you know, it's a small economy. These goods actually make their way into the country. I mean, if you go downtown to, you know, downtown Chikovo and Mini Price and all.
And many traders complain that their goods are impounded for being fake after the government has taken taxes from them. Don't you think that is actually a paradox? 100%. Why should government collect taxes from counterfeits?
From fake goods, and you know they're fake.
And expose us to danger.
So like you said, the controls are, it's really a control issue, because I mean, we're a landlocked country. They import.
And we don't manufacture a lot.
We don't manufacture. It's majorly import. So those cargoes, the tons and tons of dresses coming in, of shoes coming in from China, who is allowing them?
Besides, we have no way of differentiating what is genuine from the fake most times.
Most times you don't.
Ashmahaney, what's your personal experience with counterfeits? Or for you live in a world where...
I wish. Yeah, I've had quite a number of experiences, you know, from products, services. I can say counterfeit. It's very real. It's very real. You experience it on a daily, you know.
Beauty products,
you know, hair products. You know, at the time when I used to treat my hair, because I have very, you know, fine hair, not fine,
because of the Arabic connection.
My racial, you know, mix. And then, you know, you just put this product on your hair and you just feel like everything is, and yet you've done your research and they're like, this is a very, I don't know, gentle, you know, those things, but it's something different. Facial products, you know, you use a product on your face and then you find out it's a fake. Your face reacts, you get these pimples, you know, everything. So I find
the cosmetics,
yeah. So luckily enough, I'm blessed enough to be able to travel out of the country. You know, sometimes when I travel, I make sure that the things that are very essential to me, I buy genuine products. You know, what I use on my face, good enough now, my hair, it's okay. Once in a while, if I've made enough billings and, you know, I have my kamane, I'll invest in a good bag or one which I'll have for such a long time, but I know at least it's worth the investment. And I said, luckily, I'm a few among many. Some people would, for their lifetime, have only experienced fake products.
We have a problem here of bleaching.
Oh, yeah.
Is it, in your view, a fake practice? Is it a good practice?
It's a fake practice. For me,
why? People like to look like Muzungu.
Again, perception. I don't know who told people that, you know, being light or whatever is beauty. I mean, it's just, I think, people being confident in their own skin. I find all shades of how women or men or whatever it is, how they appear, it's just who they are. You know, and now the bleaching has gone from products into pills. People actually now intake pills to kill the melamine from within their bodies.
So the whole pigmentation dies.
Then you have the injectables. people go into this, what do they call them? They're like oxygenated cabins. They're not cabins, like you enter and then it's kind of like
you come out, you enter black and you come out brown.
Yeah, very extreme ways to just change your color. Personally, honestly, I know we are all different. We all see beauty differently, but I don't think it's a good thing. The effects are quite immense. There's skin cancer. The ones who swallow, we are seeing rise in colon cancer, liver cancer, because these are bodies that now have to digest all that. Ovarian cancer. I was reading a study where now all these things that we're doing to ourselves, injectables, people go and they inject to get big butts.
I think it's the men pushing
Maybe
the ladies.
Because you're the consumers of these things.
Of these,
you see how counterfeit.
Yes, it's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. Injectables. I was reading an article where this lady went and I don't know, they put in her a product that has a cement factor and then she rotted. I mean, a lot is happening. But for me, again, it's having confidence in who you are. I think
accepting who you are the way you are.
That's the confidence.
In other words, accepting genuine.
Because the way you're made, you're unique. There's only you.
We must close. We've overshot the time. But as a mother of boys,
yes,
there is a big crisis. Gender equality appears to be looking at the girl child only. Every time, girl child. And then the boy child is being neglected. What measures are you taking as a mother of two lovely boys to ensure that they'll grow up as responsible men, as husbands, and that you'll not be a mother-in-law with, that this husband of mine is fake or that? How do we mitigate? Yes, how do we ensure that the boy child, the male child is, comes out genuinely also? Yeah,
but also just to start off, I think the whole girl child story started when, before that, it was all about the boy child. I think it's just the seasons. So
I don't know which years were the boy child. I wasn't born.
The girl child story started because there was a boy child agenda. Maybe traditions.
In 1900, yeah. I wasn't born yet.
So that was their time. Then the girl child story started. Take girls to school, to stop early marriages. The 1.5 came in, encouraging parents that, even if your daughter doesn't make it, we'll add this 1.5, they'll still get a chance to go for government studies. So I think yes, rightfully so, the story of the female gender has been pounded very well. I would say
over-pounded.
We're still knowing more.
You are still pounding.
You are still pounding. So I think now, for me, the equality is pound female, but also pound male. Yes, the boy child, the boy gender there is serious need for highlighting that as well. I mean, for me as a mother of boys, first of all, it's just the principles that you raise your children with. I mean, ours, we are the values, the godly values, like you're saying, we are believers, so that is very important. That value system. When we were talking about the female lawyer and how people look at you, and I told you culture, perception. I mean, I raised my boys to look at everyone the same. Male, female, it doesn't matter. You meet someone, it doesn't matter whether they are cleaner or whatever. The sense of respect and understanding that we are all human beings. And I think that shapes their mind frame, that even when they grow up, they'll have that sense of respect for all human
and the right
beings.
identity.
And identity, of course, knowing themselves, knowing who they are, first of all, knowing that they're here for a purpose. You don't have to be afraid to think that, I'm making it in life. I have my own path. I can do my own thing, as long as I'm honest, I'm doing the right things, it's okay. So again, I think that story, again, the way we were, the whole competition, and now for them, the seasons have really changed. Their generation is social media, it's so out there.
Touch and go, basically.
Life is all about social media. You're posting, I'm doing this, I'm going here, and that's where they find their joy. That, like you say, the likes you're getting, if you don't get likes, people get depressed. Children now, between depression is rising, high mental challenges, anxiety because of this whole social
Ashmahaney, we need to stop here. The conversation is so nice, but we need to have your message to the viewers on this subject of counterfeits in 30 seconds.
That's okay. So for me, to the viewers out there, it's very important that we, first of all, are aware that not everything that you want to consume is genuine. But also, let's be cautious. We've talked about counterfeit. There could be services, there could be products, there could be the way we deal with each other on a daily that we are fake. Identity, confidence. So for me, this topic really cuts across every aspect of our lives. So yeah, let's just be mindful of the counterfeits and learn to be genuine.
Thank you, so much, Ashmahaney. And she
Fred.
said you should not fear the female lawyers. They are the best, according to her. So we need to end here. And as usual, we would like to thank you for being a good audience. Make a date with us every Friday. We are discussing the big subject of counterfeits. We would like to encourage you to continue watching, to like, to share, put that notification. And if you just joined us now, this is the only show on the planet where we discuss counterfeits which are affecting us, especially the Africans. We need to sign off by saying don't be fake, buy and sell genuine always.